Before she died, she gave her neighbor a sealed letter and asked one thing: take it to the police if something happens to me. At the end of November 1998, a 40-year-old homemaker from Wisconsin, Julie Jensen, approached her neighbor with a strange request. She handed her a sealed letter and asked her to take it to the police if anything happened to her. The woman was confused and assumed it was some kind of joke. But just a few days later, 38-year-old Mark Jensen called emergency services and reported that he had found his wife's motionless body in their bed. When police arrived, they were puzzled by Julie's unnatural position. There were no signs of a struggle, no fingerprints belonging to outsiders. It appeared as though Julie had simply never woken up. So what caused her sudden death? Family members and friends remembered Julie with warmth and sorrow. From an early age, she had been cheerful, energetic, and full of life. She dreamed of becoming an actress and even performed in her school's theater productions. However, after graduation, she failed to get into a theatrical university, and this dealt a serious blow to her self-esteem. Julie lost confidence in herself and stopped making ambitious plans for the future. Instead, she settled for what life gave her. She enrolled in a local college to study accounting, where she soon met her future husband, Mark Jensen. After completing only 1 year of studies, Julie dropped out and took a job as a secretary. Mark, on the other hand, finished his education and secured a job in Pleasant Prairie, Wisconsin. The couple moved there in 1982 and got married. In 1990, they welcomed their first child, a son named David. Although it was Mark who had insisted on having a child, he showed little interest in his wife or son after the birth. He became distant and immersed himself in work, explaining that he now had to be the sole provider for the family. Mark refused to help Julie around the house and often criticized her for not becoming a certified professional. He tried to persuade her to finish her education, but Julie always changed the subject, unable to admit that she hated finance. Deep down, she still dreamed of a life under bright stage lights. In an attempt to relieve the pressure, she took a part-time job as a secretary at a small company the following year. At the office, Julie met Perry Tarrick, who had once appeared in a minor role on a television series during his youth. Their shared love for the arts became the topic of daily friendly conversations. Although both Julie and Perry were married, a passionate affair soon developed between them. The relationship did not last long. After 2 months, Mark discovered the truth. The tension between the spouses grew even colder. Julie attempted to file for divorce, but Mark threatened to take their son David away from her. Fearing this, Julie ended the affair and tried to start over with her husband. Around this time, strange incidents began to occur in their lives. Someone was breaking into their home and leaving extremely obscene and cynical images of a sexual nature. Mark was convinced this was Perry's revenge. The Jensens hired a private investigator who told Julie that it was most likely her husband behind these acts. Julie refused to believe him. From the outside, the Jensen family appeared ordinary, happy, and loving. But in reality, the relationship between Julie and Mark continued to deteriorate. In an attempt to fix their marriage, they decided to have a second child. In 1995, their second son, Douglas, was born. This event did nothing to repair what had already been broken. According to Julie's physician, she was deeply unhappy and emotionally drained during that period. By 1998, Julie and Mark had become strangers to one another. The only things they still shared were their home and their children. On December 3rd, Julie was gone. Initially, medical examiners suggested that Julie had died of natural causes. However, her loved ones were disturbed by Mark's unusual behavior. At the funeral, he did not shed a single tear. He stood off to the side, laughing with friends. Shortly afterward, he gathered all of Julie's belongings and photographs, stuffed them into garbage bags, and placed them outside as trash. According to Julie's relatives, it was as if he wanted to erase her completely, to wipe every trace of her from his life. Soon, new information emerged. Medical experts determined that Julie had died from ethylene glycol poisoning, a colorless, sweet-tasting liquid commonly found in antifreeze. Police then obtained the letter Julie had given to her neighbor. In the letter, Julie explained that she had accidentally discovered a list of toxic substances in her husband's planner. Afraid to ask him why he had written it, she photographed the list and placed it inside the envelope. Julie wrote that her relationship with Mark had deteriorated into polite indifference, that he had never forgiven her affair, and that he would be the first suspect if anything happened to her. "I pray that this is only my misunderstanding and that nothing happened," she wrote. "But lately, Mark has been behaving very suspiciously, and I fear for my life. I would never take my own life. I have children. They are everything to me." During questioning, Mark explained the list by claiming he was worried about his wife. He said he feared Julie might harm herself as her depression had caused her to lose interest in family, work, and life itself. He stated that she had recently refused to get out of bed, pretending to be ill, and insisted that Julie had decided to leave this world on her own. Investigators confirmed that Julie had indeed visited a psychiatrist several times due to depression, most recently just 2 days before her death. The doctor prescribed her antidepressants. Julie's condition was attributed not only to the collapse of her marriage, but also to letters from a stalker containing the same explicit images. On the family computer, police found internet searches related to ending one's life, including queries about toxic substances. Additionally, investigators uncovered email correspondence between Mark and one of his subordinates, a woman named Kelly, with whom he was having an affair. Just 1 month after Julie's funeral, Kelly moved in with him. This raised suspicions that Mark may have eliminated his wife not only out of resentment but also for a new relationship. These suspicions deepened when Mark's colleague Ed Klug told police that Mark once said he would have helped Julie meet her maker long ago if he knew he would get away with it. Despite all this, the evidence against Mark remained circumstantial, and the legal process dragged on for nearly 10 years. During that time, Mark married his mistress and his eldest son graduated from high school. Even after a jury found Mark guilty and he was sentenced to life in prison, his sons David and Douglas refused to turn their backs on him. They believed their mother had been mentally unstable and that the letter was part of a dramatic performance. After several appeals, the defense managed to exploit legal loopholes and the letter was no longer considered a key piece of evidence. On December 19, 2013, Mark Jensen was released from prison, but Julie's family refused to give up. They hired private investigators to uncover undeniable proof of Mark's guilt, and their efforts paid off. It was revealed that the obscene letters sent to Julie had been written by Mark himself. He had deliberately tormented her for years, watching her suffer so that others would believe she was mentally unstable. One of Mark's former cellmates confirmed these claims, stating that Mark had admitted he had planned his wife's death for a long time and was simply waiting for the right moment, specifically until a doctor prescribed her medication. On January 9th, 2023, the prosecution officially dismissed the theory that Julie had wanted attention or fame because she failed to realize her acting ambitions. After lengthy deliberations, the jury found Mark Jensen guilty once again, sentencing him to life in prison. His new wife and his sons continue to believe in his innocence.